guys, and welcome to my channel. My name's Sarah, and today I'm going to be talking about my experiences as a bodybuilder on how to tackle meals out when dieting or in your off season. Remember guys, if you like this video, hit the thumbs up. Subscribe to my channel if you haven't already, and hit that bell to alert you every time I post a new video every Monday. I'd also love to see any comments as to how useful you find this video or any questions you might have. This video is slightly different to the videos I've released before. It's definitely going to be more down to my personal experiences and how I tackle things. There's no right or wrong here. What I'd like to try and get across to you is that whatever works for you is right for you. I'm hoping by sharing my experiences with you that this can facilitate you finding your own way and feeling comfortable with those decisions that you make moving forward. I've really been looking forward to creating this video. I feel like it's a really good way to help you guys understand a little bit more into how you can incorporate meals out when you're looking to achieve body composition changes. By the end of this video, I'm hoping that you will feel much more comfortable with incorporating meals out, whether you're dieting or in your off season, and being able to enjoy the experience as much as possible. I hope by covering some simple swaps and how I personally structure my nutrition around meals out will help you understand a little bit more into how you can make this possible for you. And I'm looking forward to helping you make informed decisions when eating out. This is where the flexible dieting approach can lend itself really well. You can, over time, the more you do it, understand what food you like and what food you don't like. You can then bring this into going out. So if you know that you really enjoy certain foods, when you go and look at menus online before or on the day, you can pick foods that you're actually going to enjoy rather than potentially choose something on a menu, use a lot of your calories on that, and then not enjoy the meal. So you're then going to have a negative impact on what is meant to be a really nice positive thing for you. Throughout my time as a bodybuilder, as you can imagine, being part of a sport that is hugely reliant on your aesthetic look, your nutrition and your training, it's been quite a tough journey to understand how I can incorporate having time out and allowing myself to switch off with friends, with family, and in different scenarios. What I'd like to do today is start the first part of the video looking at how to incorporate meals out when you're dieting. And then I'm going to spend the second half of the video looking at how you can incorporate eating out into an off season. So during a prep where I'm getting ready for a bodybuilding show, I don't tend to incorporate too many meals out. I need to be on target, sticking to my routines, and I know what works for me during a prep. And what I want to do is try and keep everything as tailored as possible to facilitate my training, making sure that the foods I eat are digesting well, and overall I want to be feeling as well as possible as I get deeper into a diet. However, I would still like to use my experience to help you understand what it looks like to incorporate meals out or times where you're looking at family gatherings, Christmas, different periods when you're dieting, and how that would look. During my time as a bodybuilder, I have been through preps and periods of dieting where I've been able to incorporate this. Within, I say, 12 to 15 weeks of a show, it becomes more difficult. So let's start to look at how we could structure our day around having a meal out. I'm going to base a lot of my content on the flexible dieting approach, which we've spoken about in previous videos. So what I like to do if I'm dieting is account for what I'm going to have. If this is to have a meal out, there's a couple of different things you can look to do. A lot of different restaurants have the opportunity to track the food you're going to have. Some of them you can find this on the menu by looking on their website, or on my MyFitnessPal, which is the app I use to track my food. A lot of the popular restaurants are listed on there, and you can actually search items of food that are found on menus and put them into MyFitnessPal. Then you can build your day around this. If you have the opportunity to do this, it's ideal really. It means that you can still eat out but hit your targets, whether that's calories or macronutrients. You can still enjoy time out with friends, with family, but stay accountable. The way I'd personally look to do this is choose what I'm going to have on the menu. I would then add this to the day that I'm going to be going out. I could either look on the website and input the meal or the foods individually onto my food tracker, or I can search it, and if it's available on MyFitnessPal, I can use that. One bonus tip is try and double check the website and the app and make sure the calories and macronutrients match. I've been caught out before where they don't correlate, and what I do is I go with the website version to be on the safe side. Like I said, if you're going to use this approach, add in the items of food you're going to have. So say this was Nando's, which I've spoken about before in my videos. You can make sure you've got the right calories and macros for the food you're going to have. So if this was going to be, say, for your dinner, you could put this in your FitnessPal as your dinner, and that would equate how many calories that's going to use over your day. And if you track your macros, it's going to show you that as well. Then you can have a look at what you've got left for the rest of your day. You can then sculpt your day ahead of time and know exactly what you're doing to still hit your targets. Now, this is not only going to take the stress out of it, it's also going to help you get your head around being able to have a meal out but not feel stressed by that, and know that you're still on track towards your goals. The other option is if you're going for an earlier meal, so if you were, say, going for breakfast, then if you wanted to have a look at the menu before you can, if you don't and you want to see what you fancy on the day, you've got the option to go to the restaurant and choose what you're going to have and then input it while you're there. One of the things I'd maybe consider is that you're with people that understand what you're trying to do. I've been there in the past where it's made me feel quite uncomfortable trying to track what I'm eating at the dinner table with friends that are, maybe not dieting or haven't really used food trackers before. It can sometimes make you feel uncomfortable, but also them. So it's important to do what you're going to feel more comfortable with. I personally find that inputting it ahead of time just allows me to get my head around the idea of having a meal out. Now, when you're dieting, there's several different things you can consider looking at when eating out. Now, some really, really simple swaps I'd like to share with you are going to help you still enjoy your time out, but save calories that may help you to enjoy yourself a little bit more, have more volume of food when you eat out, and just feel a bit more comfortable in that setup. One of my favourites is swapping items like chips, mashed potato, things like that, and looking at the menu for things like Mediterranean vegetables. So it's a really nice option to still have something that's cooked maybe differently to what you'd experience at home, which in essence is one of the big things to going out. You want to enjoy someone else cooking the food for you and a different palate experience. So having something like grilled Mediterranean veg is a really nice twist there, and it can easily replace something like your chips or your mashed potato. You can also look to items like salad. Now, as most of you may be aware, salad, things like lettuce, cucumber, cherry tomatoes, they're all very low in calories. So volume wise, you can have quite a big meal and it's bang for your buck. Nando's is my favourite really for giving the best examples when trying to track when you're eating out, because they've been available on MyFitnessPal for quite some time. And the garden salad they offer, I remember I used to get, a couple of the big ones. I'd then have something like a chicken burger and that would fill me right up. And then, over the years, I've decided that salad isn't as enjoyable. I don't have it out of preference now. I much prefer veggies. So now I'm going down the route of having the Mediterranean veg. What you can also start to learn is that when you look at the website, look at MyFitnessPal for what's in the food choices you're going to select. select is whether or not you want to use your calories on certain items. Like I said in my video about flexible dieting, having calories is a little bit like currency. You can choose to have your budget for the day and spend your currency on what you want to. So when you look at menus, when you pre-plan, you can choose the items that you want to have, that you're going to enjoy. You're going to feel part of going out with your friends, enjoying time out, but you're still maintaining the effort and the focus required for your goals. You can also look to approach this slightly differently for restaurants that aren't facilitating having the calories and the macronutrients available to you. I've spoken about this previously in my videos where you can look to guesstimate the food you're going to have. To a certain degree, especially when dieting, if your calories are quite tight, I definitely recommend doing this ahead of time. So what you can do is look at the menu, and you can use MyFitnessPal to guesstimate the items you're going to have. As an example, you can have something like a chicken breast, some vegetables, and then you can add some calories for seasoning, for the oils that are potentially used to cook your food. Now, I personally always like to ask for my sauces on the side. This not only keeps me in control, it allows me to decide whether I want to add that sauce to my food. I've had occasions where I've ordered a meal and it's come drowned in something like gravy, and actually I don't like the taste. And that's caused me to get very distressed and feel really uncomfortable because I don't want to eat the food covered in a sauce that I'm not enjoying. So by asking for the sauce on the side, you can not only stay in control, you can save calories, and you can make the decision whether you want to add that sauce to your food. Out of preference, I like my food quite plain, really. Over the years, I've found that I've got to that point where I know what foods unsettle me, what foods work really well. So when going out for a meal, I would always say, can I have my vegetables cooked without butter and without oil? There's some other items that may work with as well, but generally it's when I'm asking for a side of veggies, something like, a side of broccoli. I'd always say, can I please have it without the additional oil, butter, sauces? However, if you want to have the butter, if you want to have the oil, you can account for it. So it's up to you. I just find that I quite like plain food, and, for the sake of potentially 10 grams of oil that they've cooked the food in, or, if 10-20 grams of butter, if that's drizzled on your broccoli, say, that's racking up a lot of calories that I personally would rather use throughout the rest of my day, so that when I have my meal out, I feel more comfortable to enjoy the food, and I've saved on the calories just by swerving that additional butter or oil. I actually find when I'm dieting and I have meals out, I've made choices based on the foods that I think I want, seeing things on Instagram, on Facebook, wherever it may be, looking at pictures of foods and thinking, oh, I really want to have that burger. Consequently, if my calories are set and they're, fairly low, if I've used, say, 700-800 calories on a burger, and I've got, say, 500 calories for the rest of the day, I have then had to weigh up, do I really want that burger to then have the rest of my meals around that a lot lower calories? Or do I want to have something that's lower in calories and still eat fairly good meals throughout the day? So that's a decision you can make. And I definitely try exploring both ways and see what suits you better. See what works well for you. And then you can make sure that you're enjoying your choices based on experience and knowing what suits you best. I'd also like to point out here that if you are flexible dieting and you're inputting a meal where you're going to guesstimate what you're having, it's going to be better for you to overestimate rather than underestimate. Now, depending on the occasion and how comfortable you feel with perhaps not following what everyone else is doing, you can look to have 1 or 2 courses rather than 3. You can also, of course, phone the restaurant and ask about the food that you want to select. You can ask how it's cooked. You can ask for alternatives. If you're going to a family event and there's a set menu, then you might want to phone and make amendments to your choice. So if it was something like burger and chips was the only option you liked on the menu, but you wanted to swerve having the bun or the chips, or if you wanted to add some additional salad, you could phone ahead and do that. And most restaurants really don't mind catering for you. You know, it's not adverse for me to phone restaurants and scrutinize the menu. Over my years flexible dieting and trying to understand how to incorporate meals out, I've been through stages where I've found it very difficult to take my foot off the gas and fully embrace going out and enjoying myself. This has become more realistic for me with time and my understanding as to what I'm looking to achieve and what I want to do. But essentially, I live a life around my bodybuilding that is gonna throw me, meals out, occasions, and I don't want to say no all the time. So I've had to learn how I can mentally adapt and be able to accept meals out and periods of time where I can enjoy making memories with friends, with family, and not completely isolating myself. When you are dieting, there's going to be a need for an element of commitment there. If you really do want to make quite big changes with your body composition, then meals out are going to be more difficult. And you're going to need to accept that you look at a menu, there's certain items that just aren't going to lend themselves well to what you're trying to achieve. If there's certain restaurants that the only things you really, really like are going to be more enjoyed where you've got periods of time where you're not maybe dieting as strict, then it could be an idea to not visit those places while you're trying to, really crack on with hitting your daily targets and staying motivated. If you put yourself into scenarios that are going to stress you out and it becomes overwhelming because you really, really want the foods you normally have when you visit those places, then you could find yourself in a really difficult position. So just weigh up how you want to tackle it and perhaps look at other options, restaurants that are maybe a bit more macro friendly while you're dieting. A tip I'd like to share with you is if you're quite a social person, you've got quite a big family, say, and occasions are going to come up quite a lot, then why don't you incorporate things like going for a picnic? What you can do is you can measure, you can prepare your own food, and you can take that. You can then sit with your family and friends and not feel uncomfortable. You know exactly what you're going to have, and it can be the food you have every day if you want, but maybe just lay it out in a different way. Or I remember once from one of my mum's birthdays, I got her round to my house and I planned like a sort of ploughman's meal. So I was able to do some ham, some cheese, bits of pickled onion, tomatoes, bits and bobs. And I was able to make my mum feel really special by creating a really nice meal. And I was able to join her. Yes, I didn't go out for a meal, but we decided to spend some quality time together at my house for her birthday. And I was dieting, I was in prep, and it was a stage where I didn't really want to go out for a meal. So my mum luckily supports me 1,000,000%, and I was able to still enjoy a really, really nice time with her on her birthday. By no means am I saying don't go out at all when you're dieting, but you've got to do what's right for you. If you want to be successful on your diet, then you're going to need to make changes that are going to facilitate your success. There's no point in putting yourself into scenarios that are going to cause you added pressure that you don't need. Now, what I'd like you to consider off the back of this is that if there are things coming up that are going to take you out your comfort zone, then it's worth trying to pre-plan ahead and look to work with someone like a coach. Look at like-minded people. Try and find people around you that you can talk about it. People that you can rely on. People that aren't going to judge you. finding that circle of friends around you that you can sound off. I've luckily built up a really close knit group of friends that completely understand what I'm doing. I've had so many meltdowns in scenarios that most people wouldn't even know about. Because I'm at this stage now where I can incorporate meals out with a lot more ease, that doesn't mean that it hasn't been hard throughout my journey as a competitor. Particularly when I first started out, all I wanted to do is my best and I wanted to be as specific as possible. My coach Stephen has really helped me deal with those insecurities as to trying to have meals out and not feel like I'm not then a bodybuilder, that I don't deserve to have meals out. And without him, I truly believe that I probably wouldn't be where I am today. So it's trying to acknowledge the different feelings you're having around meals out and relying on those close people to talk through it with and hopefully get some understanding, a bit of rationale as to what you need to do to facilitate living a life that does incorporate time out. Those competitors out there, you'll completely understand post show when you're suddenly allowed to eat what you want. You've done your diet, you've done your competition, and there's an element of flexibility there to go and have a meal out, go and enjoy yourself. I've been there where I've completely binged out, basically. I can certainly recall in the earlier years of competing this happening after pretty much every show. Stephen was there to try and help me get to grips with not taking that attitude where I wanted to binge. But I learnt the hard way for my first 3 or 4 shows. I ate a lot post show, the night of the show, the day after the show. Consequently, I would feel very uncomfortable. I would then feel like I needed to self-restrict. The meals out weren't as enjoyable as they were now when I go out post show. It's all about the experience of just being with my family and friends, just thanking them for their support and enjoying time with them, enjoying a different palate experience, some nice foods, and not eating out of Tupperware. So it all comes with experience. Hoping is that I can help you realize that this is a journey. If you're sticking to a diet, you're committing to making changes to your nutrition, then there's going to be lessons to learn along the way. And today's video is really nice to just share lots of my experiences with you. Hopefully you can relate. Hopefully pick up some tips as to how to tackle having meals out. Some simple swaps that are going to help you negate being able to embrace those times with family and friends, but also some practical knowledge to help you move forward. Dieting for long periods of time, not dieting, going for a meal out, completely blowing it, self-restricting and going through this cycle. If you can bring in a sense of balance within your lifestyle, if you do have times where you're committing to seeing friends and family, then it's going to help you adhere to your plan for a hell of a lot longer than if you have this cycle of up, down, which is often associated with yo-yo dieting or my diet starts tomorrow. There's a few different foods that I really enjoy when I'm not tracking. My absolute number one is cheesecake. Something that I've always done is when I have cheesecake, I don't tend to track it. There's a variety of different reasons for this. I know that cheesecake is going to be pretty high in calories wherever you get it from. I really enjoy cheesecake, and for me personally, I only have it when I'm in my off season or just after a show when I can enjoy foods for that period of time. I don't particularly want to know the calories in it. Personally, I've come from disordered eating. I've had issues with being able to include different foods. So cheesecake is one of the foods that I relate to complete enjoyment, and I don't want to know what the calorie content is. So my decision is that when I have cheesecake, that I don't track it, I don't guesstimate, I have it at periods of time that I can fully immerse myself in having that as my favourite food. The same goes for when I'm having curry. That's my savoury favourite, is my local Indian, Anuka. I'm from Bognor Regis, and we have a really nice Indian that I tend to incorporate when I'm in my off season, so my gaining phase. And if I'm able to incorporate meals out where I don't need to track, this is probably one of the only places I want to do that. The reason is I love the food there. Every time I have a curry from there, it's always exactly how I want it. I have a tikka masala, naan bread. Sometimes I have some rice, and Kieran and I share a side of spinach. For the same reason as the cheesecake, I know it's going to be high in calories. I personally don't want to make changes to something that I enjoy a lot. So I don't want to have, the chicken on a skewer. I want to have my creamy tikka masala. To me, that is enjoyment. I know that I love that food and I don't want to compromise. So I will only have it at times where I can allow for that. And that's how I personally like to do it. When I am in my off season, what I incorporated during my last phase was having weekends off tracking my food. There's a few different ways that I've set this up previously. In this most recent off season, what I would do is in the morning I would have a protein shake. I would then have my curry or my cheesecake or whatever I wanted to incorporate on that day. Later in the day, I would then have a protein shake. Now, as my calories got higher in my last off season, I was pushing up to nearly 3,000 a day. I would incorporate some other off-plan foods that I wanted to include as well. So sometimes in my evening meal, once my curry had gone down, I'd enjoyed that. I was feeling hungry again. I'd have my shake, and then I'd have potentially something else like a blueberry muffin from Morrison's Bakery. So something that I would never have. I couldn't really track unless I guesstimated, and I would enjoy that as part of my day. This is something I've mastered over time, and I feel very, very comfortable now doing that. I can eat lean around the meal, and then I can appreciate that one meal where I know exactly what I'm going to have. I know it's going to hit that point for me of pure enjoyment, and I can really enjoy my time, my day off tracking my food. So they're the two main things I really enjoy having as part of my diet when I'm in my off season and having time away from tracking. If, however, things come up like family gatherings, in the past Kieran and I have gone for, say, a burger, I'd also follow the same sort of approach. So I'd eat lean around that. So the calories are really nice and low, and then I can have that one meal where I really enjoy my food. As a competitor, there's that post-show period that I'm going to talk about as well. After you compete, for me anyway, Stephen tries to encourage me to have a nice meal with my family after competing, after dieting for a long period of time. Like I mentioned earlier, in the past that would have been almost like a go ham binge fest. I don't enjoy doing that now. I don't enjoy that behaviour. So now, certainly in my previous prep, a really nice example was after Body Power in 2019. Kieran and I and one of my really good friends and clients, Charlotte, went to Digbeth Dining Club, and that was just such a nice place to go after competing. I really enjoyed the show. I immersed myself fully. I had a great experience. I then went round the expo, had some protein bars, of course, nice free samples, and then we went off to Digbeth. I had the best vegan burger I've ever had, and I'm not a vegan, but I fancied it. And then we went to a dessert truck, so I got a white chocolate blondie with some ice cream, and Shah and Kieran got a dessert as well. Naturally, I would have preferred cheesecake. And it was really weird, actually. I'd enjoyed the vegan burger and we'd had some other bits and bobs. And when I went to eat the blondie, I didn't like it at first. And I thought, I don't really like this. And I remember Shah saying to me, maybe it's just your palate's not used to it. You've dieted for ages. Maybe you're not completely, comfortable with having it because you've had the vegan burger and what have you. I went back to try it again and it was like, hold on a minute, this is good. And I finished it. You know, it's funny, sometimes dieting for long periods of time can do different things psychologically and also to your palate and what your preferences are. So just bear that in mind. If you're a competitor and you're looking to tackle post show, try and plan ahead. Look at something you're really going to enjoy. Something, you know, maybe that you wouldn't have access to. If you're looking to have an experience like I did at Digbeth, it's basically like a sort of food market, so you can go and have lots of different cuisines and enjoy yourself. It then makes show day even more special. I was able to spend really nice quality time with Kieran and Shah, and I got to compete. It was, you know, one of the best days I've had as a competitor. So look at it from a point of view where you can pre-plan, and if you're able to take your foot off the gas post-show, then do that. I also like to take Christmas time off. I've definitely been through the mill a little bit with enjoying Christmas time. It used to be quite difficult for me to be able to immerse fully in the multitude of gatherings with friends, with family. I now have 2 weeks off at Christmas and I completely immerse myself and relax with the occasions that come up. I take a very similar approach that I do when I have my curries, my cheesecake. I have a protein shake for breakfast each day, and then Kieran and I often look at a library of places that we'd like to go over that period. And that would include Christmas Day, I'm able to just completely relax, have the foods that I want, rather than measuring my food out like I do the majority of the year. Generally, when you're in your off season or you're looking to gain weight, actually, if you do have days around monitoring your nutrition like you normally would, then to facilitate a calorie surplus, it might be that you're able to have more food than you'd maybe think. So I certainly in the past have had words with Stephen, and he said you need to be eating more on your days off. You know, don't just eat protein and then one meal out that's not actually that high in calories. So this is where working with a coach can help, or understanding a bit more about food. And when you're in your period of being in a calorie surplus, doing what's needed to keep facilitating that overconsumption of calories rather than restricting too much in the phase where you can actually enjoy the higher calorie foods a lot more. It's so good to be at a point where I can embrace different foods at different periods of time. I have my best friends that make me such nice sweet treats for after a show or at Christmas, and the amount of enjoyment that I get, that they get from being able to treat me is really nice. You know, there's previous times where I've not even been able to say that I'm having a treat because I'd feel like, why do I need a treat? It's not a treat, it's food. I'm not a dog. And I was so hyper focused on not needing these different foods, but actually I want to have these foods. Soph makes the most incredible brownies. Bryony makes the ultimate cheesecake. And it's so nice to be able to accept gifts of food that my friends have put a lot of time in and spent their energies making something nice for me that they know I'm going to enjoy. And to take that away from myself, from them, is not something that I want to do anymore. I know that I can still be a bodybuilder without needing to self-restrict at all times throughout my journey. So I've been able to learn how to incorporate time out and feel comfortable doing that. And knowing that at all times I am focused on my goals. I want to achieve. I want to progress. I want to do my best as a competitor. And I take it very seriously. But it's knowing when you can take your foot off the gas at times and be able to find that balance that's realistic to make this something that I'm going to continue to do for years and years and years. Like I said in previous videos, would it be realistic to say, I'm never going to have chocolate again? No, it wouldn't, because I enjoy chocolate. I'm hoping that by sharing these little experiences with you, the nuggets of information I have, that this video has helped you get a bit more understanding how you can fully embrace time out with your friends and family without feeling the guilt that maybe you have in the past and the anxieties that you have leading up to these periods of time. You can start to understand how to make this more comfortable for you and essentially be able to, like I say, do this for years at a time without being unrealistic and cutting things out of your life that you don't need to. So understand what phase you're in, what you need to apply to that to achieve your goals, and move forward with confidence in yourself and your choices. Over time, you'll feel much more empowered. The more you practice this, the better. And ultimately, if you have friends and family around you that understand what you're trying to do, if you're looking at changing your nutrition, if you're looking at being a competitor, or whether you're looking to diet, then try and find those people that are going to understand and enjoy being around you for you being you, rather than just the sake of going and eating, foods that you don't enjoy, or going and getting pissed when you don't want to go and get pissed. Understand that the people that are around you should be helping to rise you up, not make you feel uncomfortable. You'll get to learn as you go through life what friends you want to keep, what friends you maybe want to let go of. Ultimately, the decisions are yours to make, but I would always try and find those people that are going to make you feel 100% comfortable in your own decisions and not make you feel bad for not wanting to maybe eat certain foods or drink certain drinks. Always remember, guys, if you're invited out and you don't want to go, you maybe don't enjoy the restaurant that your friends are going to, or perhaps you'd prefer to just go for a drink. Make the decision based on what you want to do and what you're comfortable with. And with this comes an element of confidence for maybe you to suggest where you go out to eat. What would be wrong with going somewhere where you can track your food? If you don't want to, you don't even have to tell the people you're going with that that's what you're doing. If you pre-plan, then that can facilitate you being able to turn up at the restaurant, order the food that you've already put into your app and you've already accounted for, and no one would ever know. So look at these ways to negate being able to enjoy yourself with the people that you love. I really do hope you've enjoyed this episode. Hit the like button to show me if you have. Subscribe to my channel and hit that bell to alert you every time I post a new video. And I look forward to seeing you next week. Goodbye for now.